To all my amazing GovCon winners, you are in for a treat. We have the undisputed godfather of federal government contracting, Mark Amtower here. He is going to just blow your mind when it comes to government contracting and marketing. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Kizzy. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. And it's the godfather of government marketing, not contracting. Contracting is like everything. Marketing is just this little part that I play in.
Well, I see you as the godfather of all of it. So I had to start really big.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome there. So please share, like, how did you get into the marketing side of federal government contracting?
Oh, well, that's a weird story because my degrees are in American literature.
Oh.
When I was in graduate school, I was a telemarketer. And I did teach college English for about a year and a half, but only part-time, and part-time instructors, the pay is not real good. So I took the telemarketing and it translated into a day job selling IT and management training to Fortune 100 and government agencies. So that was my introduction to GovCon back in the early 80s. I did a short stint with Government Computer News. I was their first circulation director. And the more I looked around the market, the more I saw that nobody at that point, and we're talking mid-80s, nobody was treating marketing to the government as a separate discipline. So I liked it. I was pretty good at it even then, and I decided that I would park my butt right there, and I opened Amtower and Company January 1, 1985.
Wow, 1985. So what was marketing like in 1985?
Trade shows, direct mail, and traditional PR, trying to influence the press to pick up your story, were the three major legs on the stool back then. Still, it's always been a relationship-driven market. So your sales and BD people had to get out and meet people, and large events were good to do that. Back then also, you could actually walk into federal agencies and just show, your driver's license to the cop at the door, and you could walk the halls. So it wasn't until Oklahoma City that and that was, 94, I think. April 11, 94, somewhere around there. No, April 19th, my mistake. That's when it was decided that people who were going to walk the halls needed either escorts or some sort of security protocol. So, but the big marketing things back then were trade shows, direct mail, and PR. And I was on the board of Fosse way back when. I started my business by building little mailing lists and selling them on a D-base program. And I would go to mail rooms to see how the mail was distributed, because not all mail gets through.
Talk to us about that. What do you mean not all mail gets through?
You think about it this way: when mail is delivered to a federal agency, it's not a guy carrying a bag handing off a few letters. It is a semi backing in and depositing massive amounts of stuff. So unless the address components are clear, you're not going to mail the John Smith Department of Commerce 20230. Not going to get through. You need the internal mailing codes, the routing codes, not a room number, but a routing code, in order for your mail to be sorted and processed and delivered. If it doesn't have that, you're toast. And most lists back then did not have that. Mine did.
Oh, so you definitely got in as a result of that.
Yeah. So I made a living with lists for several years, and then when this email thing came out, my list business, but it's a matter of morphing with the market. So in the 80s, I was the king of direct marketing to the government. In the 90s, I was put on the board of a couple of the trade shows. Then I morphed into, the Web 2.0 person, webinars, and then the advent of social networks. I as of February, this coming February, I'll be a LinkedIn member for 19 years.
Ooh.
So I was an early adapter or adopter of it, but I didn't really adapt for a couple of years after that because nobody was there.
Right. And now, I mean, tons of people are there, millions upon millions.
I just finished my my annual federal census, but right now I can track 2.72 million feds on LinkedIn, represented by 556 company pages. So just like you have a company page for your companies, right? All right. So it says how many employees are there. There's 556 of those for the federal government, getting down to operating divisions within various components. So for example, U.S. Army, I've identified 82 different company pages for segments of the Army that represent, 150, 200,000 people. Army is the largest single component of feds on LinkedIn.
And so what, I want to kind of take a step back in that, there's this, for some, there's this belief, from ranging from someone who just started out, even those who I've come across who are making millions as government contractors, that don't need to market. I just need to go to SAM or go to Unison, and I've bid, I've won, I'm bringing in a couple million a year. So why market? Isn't that just for these bigger Lockheed Martin, IBM? Why would a small business need to market?
Most of these successful small businesses devote a fair amount of time and money to marketing because there's two issues facing you when you're bidding. I speak at the Association for Proposal Management Professionals, not because I'm a proposal person, but because I'm a marketing person. But I've been speaking there for like 14 years, and every year the biggest issue is, should we or should we not bid because the client does not know us, okay? The other thing is somebody's going to get in ahead of us and influence the direction of the RFP. Well, both of those things are things that you control. If a client doesn't know you, it's not their fault, it's your fault. So, there's 1,001 ways to introduce yourself to agencies that you're targeting. If you're just responding to bids that you see on a bid board or you see from, Bloomberg or GovWin, shoot yourself. That's not the way to do it. You should be targeting very specific opportunities that fall well within your wheelhouse. So not a NAICS code, a PSC code. Then, if you know the agencies you want to target, you start building relationships with them early in the process now. And, on LinkedIn, 2.72 million feds on LinkedIn. That is the vast majority of federal employees, and it includes uniformed personnel, DOD, the intelligence community, and the civilian agencies. And DOD has a bigger count than the civilian agencies by 200,000.
And so how does one build a relationship? Because, they don't answer the phone, they don't respond to email. So how are you supposed to build a relationship with someone?
Well, you number one, if you can identify them on LinkedIn, you review their profile top to bottom. What do they like? What do they do? What groups do they belong to? Have they posted before? Who else are they connected to? So when I'm trying to connect with a Fed, and I have 11,000 plus connections on LinkedIn, all in our market, probably 500 to 600 of those are federal employees, and about half of them reached out to me to connect. The other half, I reached out to them. But when I'm reaching out to somebody, I look to see if we have shared connections, who those shared connections are. Do we share groups? I'm looking for context. Okay. So if I see that a Fed is connected to 5, 10, 15 people I know, then I know that they connect to the contracting community. I want to know if I can use that in a contextual way. If I reach out, I'm not going to send the LinkedIn form letter. I'm going to say, hey, we share a number of connections, including X, Y, and Z, and this is what I do in the market, and I would love to have you in my network, and if you're open to it, have a short conversation sometime. I'm not trying to sell them anything because I don't work directly with the government. I only work with the contractor community.
Wow. And I love that because then it's non-threatening.
Yeah, but yet, putting it in context. So let's take my niece's husband is I guess that makes him my nephew. He's a good guy, but he works for Cisco. He focuses on the National Institutes of Health. He's done that for like 10 or 12 years. So when he's reaching out to connect with people, he can lead with, oh, I've been working with your people at NIH for 12 years. I know, the contracts you work. I know the pain points. I know, he's a subject matter expert on dealing with NIH. He's not a sales guy. He's an NIH SME, and he can present himself that way.
Which is great, because then it's like you're talking to one of your own.
Exactly. I've worked with these other people. NIH has 31 different institutes. So if you're working with other people in their institute, the likelihood is, unless it's NCI, National Cancer Institute, which has like 20,000 people, the likelihood is they know one another.
That's super powerful.
Vet me, go ahead, check me out. I'm legitimate and I ain't pushy.
Right, which is great, because nobody wants that. Nobody's like, hey, I want to buy from you, please be pushy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that at all.
Yeah. LinkedIn is my favorite sandbox.
What are some other tips, especially for smaller businesses, that they could immediately implement using LinkedIn?
Well, what other tools are you using? So if you're looking at any federal agency and you're looking at contracts, so you run across some names on old RFPs, you're combing through FPDS and you see 3 or 4 names of people in the agency, maybe a program manager, contracting officer, whatever. Look them up on LinkedIn. If you want to go after the recompete for this bid, get on their radar early. Indicate that you have done or want to do business with their agency, and these are the skills you bring to the market, not your socioeconomic status, but the skills you bring. Okay, your set aside is icing on a cake. It ain't the cake.
I love that. That is so true, because there's that myth out there that you get this, whatever the set aside is, that magically money is going to come pouring in, you're going to get all these contracts, and it's not how it works.
Well, you know this as well as I do. There's some scam companies out there that'll tell you, oh, if you're this designation, we can make the phone ring for you. Money will fall off the tree into your lap. You can retire in 3 months. It's nonsense. If this market was that easy, everybody would be here. This is not an easy market to play in. It is not a short-term market by any stretch of the imagination. When I coach small businesses, I have a 1-year small GovCon coaching program. It's a year long because it's a process. We want you to build recognition. We want you to build visibility. We want you to determine what your differentiators are and start communicating those effectively to a very defined audience. And that doesn't take a week. It doesn't take a month. It takes a year.
It definitely takes a year. And for those who think otherwise, then it becomes a hobby or a lifestyle business, or you go through all of the steps to get a set aside, and then you don't end up with any contracts, because this huge piece is missing, that marketing piece.
Yep.
I would love to, Mark, like dive into your book again, Government Marketing Best Practices 2.0. You can get it from Amazon. I will also make sure that a link to the book is here in the description. Tell us, what is one of your favorite chapters from that book?
Well, here's the cool thing about the book. Government Marketing Best Practices, the original book came out in 2005. So people have been bugging me to do an updated version. And, there's a lot of best practices and a lot of skill sets involved. So I over the past year, I've mentored 9 women. I only mentor women because guys know everything already.
Wow.
Did you know that guys knew everything? You can't mentor people that know everything. So, but 5 of the women that I mentored are co-authors in this book. So I'm only mentoring, number one, GovCon marketers, and number 2, people who are not novices, but people who are good at what they do. So I got 11 people to share information with me in this book, and they are, just freaking bright people. So we have strategic planning, corporate planning, thought leadership in GovCon, PR in GovCon, association involvement, positioning your digital footprint for growth, which is basically SEO, more than just SEO, content creation, events, webinars, developing a marketing campaign, email marketing, pre-programmatic marketing, so getting ahead of the RFP, marketing to the Intel community, creating buzz and building relationships through events. One of my mentees, Chelsea Meggett, did that chapter because we came up with a really kick-ass way to get people to understand you were attending an event and reach out to you before the event so that when you got there, your dance card was full. And then I have a closing chapter on LinkedIn and social selling. So a lot of experts. And for me, I wrote 2 of the chapters. So 11 of the other chapters are for other people. Those are all my favorites because they're teaching me.
I love that. I mean, the titles alone are intriguing. I love the whole, your dance card is full, because there's so much that you can do ahead of time for different events, not only just for different opportunities that are coming up, but for all of these different things.
There is, and most, I think your marketing department. I'm advising one of my mentees. They're having their first company GovCon summit this coming spring. So I'm advising her on ways to make that successful. And so many companies do this stuff and they don't do enough pre-planning and pre-marketing for an event to make it successful, whether it's your event or you're just exhibiting an event, or even if you're just attending the event. Chelsea, we came up with this when she attended AFCEA West, a huge conference in San Diego, right? It was the first live conference in, Lord knows how long after the pandemic. So West 2021, she does all of this pre-planning, and she goes down there from Seattle and she has meetings all 3 days. Boom.
Wow. So then it was value add because she already had all of this teed up before she even got there, instead of,
And people knew what she did, and they set up meetings with her. It was very cool.
Which is powerful, and then it maximizes your time and as well as the trip.
Yeah, and how many events have you gone to where you haven't done anything and you're walking around on the floor hoping you see somebody or introducing yourself to people who don't seem to care?
I know I've been guilty of that for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely been guilty of that. Wow. I mean, these are such amazing strategies. I love that you have the book. Where can people connect with you? Where's the best place for them to go?
LinkedIn. Mark Amtower on LinkedIn is the best place to reach out. You can learn more about me there than my website, which is markamtower.net. I like the website, but I don't do anything there. I do everything on LinkedIn.
And I always emphasize LinkedIn for 2 reasons. One, it is the easiest place to grow organically.
Yep.
And two, as to what you shared with all those huge numbers, it's a place where so many different government agencies, contractors, as well as potential teaming partners or staff, all are in one place.
Yep. And when you factor in that, 556 company pages for feds representing 2.72 millions, if the feds are there, the contracting community is going to be there. So if you're looking for partners or primes, or, if you're looking for, teaming partners, or if you want to be a sub, you build relationships there. It is definitely an integral part of our ecosystem.
It truly is. And for those of all of the amazing GovCon winners who I know you made it this far in the video, please, if you haven't already, set up a LinkedIn account. Set up a LinkedIn account. Connect with Mark, because there's that myth that, LinkedIn is only if you're trying to find a job, and how many pages do I have to have? Just set up at least a basic LinkedIn account, connect with Mark, connect with me, and start to implement the strategies. Of course, get the book, Government Marketing Best Practices 2.0, to help you along the way, because there's so many opportunities there. And I'm pretty sure many in GovCon are not thinking about using LinkedIn.
And even those that are on LinkedIn, most of the companies I see on LinkedIn are not leveraging it as well as they could or as well as they should. They figure a LinkedIn presence is there. Yeah, I'll publish a piece of content every now and again. Publishing content is one thing. Getting people to look at it is something else. So I wrote an article for WashTech about a year or so ago, talking about people's attention span. And the article ended with 11 tips on getting your content viewed. It's not easy. It takes time, and you need to have patience and build an audience. You can publish, the best, the great American novel, the great American contract, whatever. If nobody finds it, what's the point?
Yeah, there's no point there. Can you share at least one of those strategies to get people to read the content?
It's a two-pronged thing. Okay. So if you belong to groups, share it in your groups. But if you have key people in your network that you want to see this, send it directly to them. Okay. There's also a way, your content on LinkedIn is like a perpetual feed. It's like your Twitter account, but you have the ability to feature content so it stays at the top of your profile until you decide to take it off. Okay. And three of those are visible. So I put our link, when this goes live, our link will be up on my feature. Come see me with Kizzy. If I have a new article out in WashTech or in Bloomberg, I will post that. I'm not going to leave it up forever, because I write 2 or 3 articles a month. But it's the way to drive traffic. So, but again, it's an incremental process. If you don't share it, people aren't going to find it. And if there are particular people you want to get it in front of, send it to them.
Yes. And then that's awesome, because we love getting things that are value add, especially something that isn't connected to, click this link to buy this, or what kind of contracts do you have coming out. It's
that's an excellent point. Content should be educational. It is not a sales vehicle. The fact that you're sharing information, education for the buyer, is the sales portion. It's not overt, it's totally subliminal. But if you're sharing information they can use, then they're going to come back to you and see who you are, and maybe look at your next piece of content as well.
Yeah.
If you try to turn it into a sales piece, they're going to be turned off.
They definitely, because the same goes for us. The
Yeah.
same exact thing happens. Well, again, where can people go to connect with you, Mark?
LinkedIn is the best place to reach me. Mark Amtower at on LinkedIn, markamtower@gmail.com. You can reach out to me at markamtower.net, but it's easier to hit me on LinkedIn.
So please connect and also pick up his book. I have it here. Government Marketing Best Practices 2.0. You have Kindle, you have paperback. This is definitely a book to pick up. And I'm just so grateful to you, because this is an area I know personally have not been the greatest at, have a lot of work to do in this area. And the whole purpose of this channel and of this interview is to keep improving and keep allowing everyone who tunes in to just keep growing and to learn from amazing people like you, as well as to learn from all my mistakes. So please implement marketing now and get the book, connect, create that LinkedIn account. So thank you so much, Mark, for being here.
Kizzy, thank you for having me. I enjoyed this.
Awesome, me too.